So welcome, Joyce.
Yes, thank you.
Joyce Calverley, you've been involved in the life of Otley Methodist Church for a long time.
A very long time.
How long would it be, Joyce?
Oh, well, I'm 94 and I was christened at church, and my father and mother worked at the Methodist Church all their lives, and so I came into a family that were a staunch Methodist family, which was lovely.
Yeah.
And a good start in life. I think how fortunate we were that were introduced to the church as small children.
So you went to Sunday school in the Wesley Hall?
Well, first of all, it was in what we call the foyer. And that was where the beginners went, the little ones. And then you moved into the next room, which we call the lecture hall.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it. Is it room something?
Room 4, is it, or room 2? I can never remember.
No, I moved there, and then eventually you moved into the Wesley Hall. And I remember as an 8-year-old, because you were about 8 when you moved up.
Okay.
And walking into the Wesley Hall, and it was a sea of faces.
About 200 children, did you say?
200 children for an ordinary afternoon Sunday school. It was amazing. I remember feeling quite frightened.
Yes, I bet. And then once you'd had us sing together as that big group, did you go into those little classrooms?
Yes, we went to those little rooms, and the teacher sat with a desk, and we sat round the outside. And we were not always good.
And how many of you would there be in a little classroom?
8 to 10.
8. And was it girls on their own and boys on their own?
Yes, it was single sex. And I do remember with a girl in our class that was a bit of a monkey. And we got up to the classroom early, and she hid. There was a bench went all the way around, and she hid under that. And then when the teacher came, she said, "There's room in my heart for Jesus." I always remember silly little things.
And when you came to church as a child, was the church half full, or was it
full?
It was full, totally full.
Yes. If you went up into the main church for the first part of the service, and then we came out, the children's Sunday school, and it was just seeing a sea of faces.
Yeah.
You know, it's incredible, really, how things have changed.
Yes. And what is your strong memory? I know you said something about when you were 8.
Yes, I was in the church the day that war was declared, and my uncle was the steward, and I saw him come up to the minister and say something and go, and at the end of the hymn the minister said that he was sorry to announce that we were now at war with Nazi Germany.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes.
And in terms of not just the church but in the Wesley Hall, do you remember plays and musicals?
Oh yes. It was a very well used central point, and for years they did Gilbert and Sullivan
musicals on the stage.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And then the audience sat on chairs and in the balcony?
And up in the balcony, yes. Oh, yes, they were very well known, the Gilbert and Sullivan at the Methodist Chapel.
And then the children's work. There's always been children's work, not just Sunday school, but also...
No, they did a pantomime every year, and that was wonderful. And you don't know this, but in those days we had a staircase that went up from the stage in the Wesley
Wow.
Hall at each side, and it was marvellous because you could have fairies coming in, or
Excellent.
what soldiers coming in, or whatever you wanted. But unfortunately, that staircase has gone.
Okay.
And I have no idea why. There was a big stage in the Wesley Hall, and then these steps went up from each side,
Wow.
which were marvellous
Yes.
when you were doing drama.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And your husband was quite involved in the property life of the church.
Yes, he'd moved around a lot. He was a Lancashire man, and he'd moved around, and everywhere he went, he seemed as though he was always on the property.
Yeah.
And when we were married at first, we had breakfast, and then he'd start immediately to get ready, and I said, "Church?" "Yes," he said, "I'm doing some
Okay.
So it was just like being married to a working husband.
I bet. And he's looked after the boilers and everything, did he?
No, not normally
right.
that. The
Right.
caretaker
Okay.
himself did that. But he did an awful lot about the property.
Wonderful. And if you had to sort of summarise your sort of fondness for the building, for Otley Methodist Church, what would you say?
I would say that it was my home.
Lovely.
It was as much my home as my own, because I would meet Mother at church afterwards. She'd be doing women's meeting teas and come and meet me at church, and it was the same all the week.
Yeah.
We were all involved.
And I suppose our hope is that the building will continue to be a home for young
yes,
people and for the
yes.
community and for
Yes.
businesses as it thrives in the next future.
Yes. I was at the meeting where we had to vote on closure of the building because we couldn't afford to keep it.
Yeah.
And I made an impromptu speech, and I said it was like losing home, but it won't be, because
Absolutely.
our church will continue,
Yeah.
and we have done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. A great story. Thank you very much for sharing with us today.